Hi Cancer, and welcome to your past life tarot reading. This is a timeless tarot reading, so whenever you view it is the perfect divine time for you to receive the messages in this tarot reading. All the decks that I'm using and the meaning of their placement in this reading is listed in the description below if you are interested in that. So Cancer, I'm going to pull 3 past life oracle cards there's one, to start building the story of who you were. And I'm really going to try to hone in on your personality, the type of life you lived, what you did, the connections you had with others, just who you were as a person. So the card that just had to come out was the Ships card, and this can mean a couple different things, so we're going to pull some more. Ooh, we have imprisonment and slavery and Celtic. All right. Excuse me. So we have a time frame, kind of. This represents a medieval time frame for some. But with the Celtic card, this is like Ireland, Scotland, you know, it can encompass many areas of Europe, okay? It's over in that area is the location. So you definitely have connection to this, and some of you might really be connected to like the Renaissance period, or, you know, just that era. All that kind of stuff, it might call to you, and it's because you definitely had a life in that time, or, you know, over in this area of the world. But with imprisonment and slavery and ships, I almost feel for some of you, you may have been like taken from your home country and, you know, located somewhere else as a prisoner, or even as a slave. And, you know, at all points in history, there were slaves, many different types of slaves. And in the most recent of human history, you know, African Americans were enslaved. But if you go back further in time, you'll see, like, even in Rome, they had slaves, and beyond that. And it was more about your financial standing in society that could have you be a slave for somebody else. So being imprisoned, or, you know, slavery could have been a literal thing that you know, this life was about, or the life that you lived could have left you feeling this way. So it will be different for all of you, since this is a general reading. So let's pull a court card to see what your zodiac sign was in this past life. Wow, so we have you guys coming through as Capricorn energy, and more of the divine feminine essence of the Capricorn energy. So this could literally mean that you were a female, and for others of you it means that you were more divine feminine than divine masculine. That doesn't mean if you were a man you were a sissy or anything like that. It just means you were like all of the masculine Capricorn energy is with you, but you also have this really soft side to you where you know, are sensitive, and you are empathic to others' emotions. So even if you were a man, there was a very sensitive energy to you, or you were a female, but nonetheless Capricorn. So if you have Capricorn in your South Node, this reading is especially strong for you, okay? Some of you might have a lot of Capricorn energy in your chart this lifetime. So I'm going to draw another card here to get more of a grasp of what your personality was like as this Capricorn person. Gaia's Garden. Yeah, this is really strong earth energy here. Fruition, abundance, reaping what you sow. You were a very abundant person, whether this was financially or this was like just your energy in general. Like you just had really lovely positive energy and you uplifted others. You loved a lot of people. So you made a lot of connections wherever you were. So I'm really interested to see what this is about. I mean, you could have been involved in the slavery, trade of slaves, selling of the slaves, things like that. And like I said, at different points in time, it was a perfectly acceptable thing and idea, just a society norm. And we've really evolved from those points in history to today where that is not an acceptable thing whatsoever, but at different points in time it was. So just because this energy is coming out like really strong earth energy, like you were wealthy, some of you, it could be that you were involved in that, in the buying and trading of slaves. Others of you, and if you were wealthy, you could have felt like you were in a prison. Maybe some of you, you were in a hierarchy of some kind, like this life that's coming through goes back all the way to then, because this is over in like the Europe area. So maybe some of you were important in the hierarchy of some kind, and that left you feeling like you were in a prison, okay? So let's keep drawing cards to see exactly what that means. And this is general, so all of those storylines could be significant and true, really. So we're going to draw 2 Vintage Wisdom Oracle to see what 2 traits about you, 2 strong traits about you, for the good or the bad, okay? We have compassion and faith. So this goes nicely with the divine feminine of the Capricorn energy. Just based on what's coming out, I don't feel so much of you were like a little literally imprisoned or were a slave of any kind. It's something about your life that left you feeling that way, because these 2 cards are very abundant, material comfort, material wealth, but this energy, this Capricorn energy, also is very sensitive and connected into the divine, where we have faith, we believe in something higher and bigger than ourselves, and we're very sensitive to others and others' needs. So let's pull some cards. I don't know, I'm feeling a really strong female Capricorn coming through more than I'm feeling male Capricorn. I feel like the Cancers I'm reading for, you were a female energy, this Capricorn earth energy. I mean, it's just reiterated right there. So I don't even think that you were a man, you were a woman. So let's pull some Gaia Tarot to see what the predominant experiences of your life were. We have the Hero, Desire, King of Earth, and Queen of Water. Yeah, some of you were actual royalty, okay, in a hierarchy, because we have the King and Queen of Earth here, but then we also have the Hero, which this is your energy, okay? It is lower in hierarchy than this King and Queen, okay? So you were royalty, and I feel like you were you may have eventually transitioned into a king or queen, okay? But you were like a princess. It feels so stupid to say that, but that's what they call them, right? You were royalty. You were in some sort of hierarchy, and it goes back to this Renaissance, the Celtic, and you felt imprisoned and like you were a slave, because there's so much restriction. You know, it's only more of a modern thing that people marry for love, okay? Honest to God, even in your zodiac, your houses of your zodiac chart, the 5th house is about matters and affairs of the heart and your creativity and children. But like your romance, that's house 5. Your marriage and partnerships, like sharing of assets and resources, that's happening in your 7th house. So, you know, back in the day, marriages were arranged for the 7th house, not for your 5th house. And now, the day and age that we live in, I can't speak across the world, but for the most part, people now marry more for love, okay? And if you're trying to just marry somebody because they have money or they have a lot of things, that's looked on as a negative and superficial, like you're not together for the right reasons type of energy. Whereas in the past, that's the only reason why you got together, is because of the resources that you both had and coming together to better yourselves in society. Okay, so that's the life that you had. That's what you were born into, and you felt very constricted and, you know, imprisoned in your kingdom, whatever. But with the Hero, you coming through as the hero, there was like expectation of you, okay? And in a sense, you know, some of you, like, I don't know, this could mean that you were out in the battlefield, but I don't really feel that so much, because again, this is such feminine energy that you are. But you definitely were a people pleaser. Like, your life didn't feel like it was about you. It was about you being the hero to this king and queen, okay? And you had great desire to be something else, to be something more. And you just were filled with so much compassion and sensitivity that being in this role was pretty intense for you. You know, materially, you lacked nothing. You lived a very good, secure life on that level. But I feel like in regards to love and romance, any type of connection like that, that's something that was lacking in your life. And that may be why you felt this energy of feeling imprisoned, or like you were a slave to the family you were born into. You know, you were a slave to your destiny, so to speak, because some things were acceptable and other things weren't. And it's hard to really comprehend that and understand that in this day and age, when there is so much freedom of choice. And again, we tend to marry for love more than anything else. So let's pull some Gypsy cards to get a bit more information. Yeah, I definitely stay in Cancer. You guys were royalty, 100%. You were born into it. Sweetheart. Yep, you had a sweetheart, but I don't think you were able to be with that sweetheart. Just wasn't part of your path. That wouldn't have been acceptable because you desired something greatly here, but I don't feel that it came to fruition for you. And I think this is about love and romance. Like, whoever you were in love with, like, it just couldn't be. You were promised to another, and you were a female, okay? So it's like you were promised to another. Yeah, so we have journey here and we have ships. So I feel like, again, you were born in one location and there was a movement to another location, and that might have everything to do with whoever your pre-arranged marriage was attached to. And I feel like it was in a different country than where you were born, okay? Especially with that card just like coming out like that. And then you also have ships. But like I said, these cards can mean many different things until we build the story, and I don't think any of you were a slave. You may have felt that way, you may have felt imprisoned, but I don't feel like, you know, if anything, you were a prisoner and slave in this arranged marriage. Money, yep. That's why, you know, people got married. Service and scholar. So you married another very prominent figure, royalty, obviously. Now, whether, you know, there's so many like duchess, duchesses, lords, all, like, just so many different titles, okay, and different time frames here. So what this tells me is you were married to somebody who was very significant, also royalty, but it was like you were their servant, you were their slave, okay? Now, I guess I could go as far to say, because we do have money here, I guess I could say for some of you, maybe you were a servant to royalty. All right. I don't feel that so much. I really don't. Let's just keep going and pull more cards before I say like 100% for sure on that, because you're coming through as like royal energy attached to this king and queen. So that's why I feel as though this is speaking more about you being royalty and being paired off with somebody based on benefit of the royal family and, you know, bloodlines and all of that, rather than love. I don't feel like you were a servant. At this service and this imprisonment and slavery is because this, wherever you were promised, is not anything that you wanted at all, okay? It's just, it's not what you wanted, but you had no choice, really. It's just, you know, you were born into royalty. So let's pull a Flames card, because again, if you were like the slave, the servant, your energy wouldn't be this. You wouldn't be so abundant and like, this is royalty, okay? So yeah, I can't think, no, you were not like a literal prisoner or slave to anybody. It's just you felt that way with whoever you were married to, who you were promised to, who you were paired off with, I should say. So we have the Four of Flames, and my intention for this card, I don't think is why this card came out. I think that this card came out as a confirmation, since I was like struggling here, like, was this a servant or born into royalty? This here is the confirmation, Cancer. Yes, see the castle here? You were born into royalty. You were royal, okay? You had a king and a queen as a mother and father. You were a princess. I really feel like it's strong Capricorn female energy, but, you know, again, this is general. I guess it could be a Capricorn male, but you were born into royalty. You were somebody important, and this is the confirmation of that, just what's depicted here on this card. So nice. Speaking to royalty, so let's look at a crystals card. Okay, that is the crystals card. Yeah, this was your financial lot in life, and again, we have the 3 crystals here. We have the Trinity. This to me is this royalty hierarchy energy where, you know, it's families and bloodlines that continue to add to the wealth. So you're not going to marry somebody beneath you as far as what was considered, you know, high level and low level human in the era that you were living in. But this is just another reiteration of you being royal, and your money, you know, is in the family. And it looks like there's 3 main royal families here involved in this past life for you. It's your family, you know, another family, and then whoever you were married into. All right, so let's pull a Cups card. I'm really interested to see what comes out here. Yeah, and see the Earth King and Queen, they showed up together. And Earth is like, you know, it could be Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus energy. And the reason why I don't feel like it's you is because it's sitting next to this Queen. And then we have this Hero. And this is like the lower level of these 2 energies. So you were born into this. Your parents were a big dominating force in your life, okay? And you were forced to be the hero, to comply, to do what you needed to do for the stability, security, and safety of the family, of the bloodline, of the lineage, of the connection, the worldly connection for alliance purpose, okay? But you were a really sweet, beautiful soul. You truly were. Yep. This is just another reiteration of what I'm saying here. Family was everything to you. What was good for the greater good for the family in general is what you were going to do and what you chose to participate in. This isn't like a love between 2 people, okay? This is about family, and that's like the strongest emotional connection and attachment you have. So even though you felt unhappy in your lot in life, you didn't waver from that. You followed that strictly to a T, okay? You did not waver whatsoever, even though it's not what you wanted. So let's pull an Orbs card to see what your greatest challenge was. Yeah, I'm not surprised. We have the 3 of Orbs. This is heartbreak and sadness. This was your biggest challenge. And again, I told you, there's desire up here. You didn't want to be royal. You didn't want to be have a king and queen for a mom and a dad. Like, just, that's not, everybody glamorizes that type of life and back in those days, but the truth is, any person born into royalty, their life was not their own. They just were a piece in the chess game between, you know, different countries, different allegiances, different alliances to grow and become bigger and stronger and a more dominating country and force, you know, whatever area they were reigning over. So you didn't want that life, even though that's what you were born into, and you did everything you were supposed to do. And I honestly feel when you were like relocated for this marriage, it just, that, like, it made you sad. That's not what you wanted. Because with the scholar here, and then you showing as the hero, I feel like whoever you were married to was much older than you. And again, that goes back to female energy. Like, they were much older than you. And it was not about love. It was 100% about money and your service to the royal family. And as being a female, like, you are not treated as important as if you would have been a male. You were subservient. All females, all queens were subservient to their king, okay? And the king could take as many lovers as they wanted, but the queen could not take any lover. And you ultimately became a queen, okay? And you were true to your service, to your king, to your country. All right, you did not waver from that 100% to the end. And I think you, as a royal figure, you were very loved, and people saw you as the hero, as somebody who cared for the people, especially coming out with this Ten of Chalice and the service. Like, you really connected with the common folk, so to speak, okay? Because there was such beautiful compassion in your heart. And because we have faith here, I feel like many of you, there was some religion or some belief that you lived by, and you felt like this was your destiny and you will follow it even if it brought great unhappiness in your heart. So I feel like you really connected with the commoners as an escape from being imprisoned in the life you were born into, because it's nothing that you wanted. Like, you weren't happy about it. You just did what you were supposed to do. You did your service to your, country, to your family name. I don't know if you had any children, because I don't really see any of that energy. I mean, we do have Gaia's garden, so you definitely could have produced children. But if you did, it's not as though you had a lot to do with their upbringing, which, again, being royalty, you wouldn't have had a lot to do with their upbringing. Okay, so you guys are the first sign to come through as royalty, which I'm really excited like that message actually came through. Because I don't think I've ever seen that come through in any past life reading I did, okay? And so I'm really excited for you, Cancer. I like it. You guys were royalty. They say that Leos were royalty in a previous life, but I don't know. According to this past life reading, it was you, Cancer. You were royalty and somebody very important, and you did your duty. You lived in a castle. In hell, maybe at some point, since you were female, maybe you said to hell with it, and you did take a lover, and your king found out and ultimately put you in a prison. That is definitely something that could have happened, and that's why that card is showing up. You finally said, enough is enough. I will take a lover. Okay, so I feel like these are your cards. We have 4 here. So we have a strength, and these are the energies that you acquired and obtained through this life that come with you, come forth into the now. Okay, and we have strength. So you went through a lot, and you had to keep a lot inside yourself and follow a very strict and rigid line, which you did, and it made you extremely strong on a spiritual level. Now with this shock here, at some point in your life, this life, and now that I see the 2 cards that follow this, and I believe, was it Aquarius? Aquarius may have received this too, these 2 together. You guys are going to have a very spiritual awakening, because like I said, with the faith here, you did what you did and you followed this path of your life because if you felt like it was what you needed to do, not just in your mind, but at a soul level, okay? And that's where this faith card comes in. And now this life, we have this starseed energy and this indigo energy coming through. And what's going to happen here is I feel like there's elements that you're going to experience in this life that make you feel restricted, imprisoned, or like you're a slave. And all that's doing is, you know, causing enough pressure for you to finally trigger and come into the strength that you truly are, okay? And whatever causes this is going to be kind of a shocking event, but what it ultimately does is opens you to this star seed and this indigo energy that exists within you. And the reason why I feel like both of these had to come out is because some of you are indigo energy and some of you are starseed energy. And I know like they could be one and the same, but to me they're actually different. Indigo to me is like anchoring new programming, new energies into the earth plane. The starseed energy to me is more that of the old wise soul that's coming to anchor energies, but more also to stimulate the minds and the philosophies and the belief systems around spirituality and religion that currently exist today. So their missions are a little bit different, but the frequency of this energy is at a much higher vibration than just the normal human soul, the average person walking around. And so for you guys, this energy exists within you and it's a part of your experience this life. And for whatever reason, it's this particular life that's coming through where this energy like is most relevant, okay? You know, with this, you could have been a ruler, like when you became a queen, that ruled from a much different perspective. Like, we have compassion here. I feel like you started changing the energies and the structures of the hierarchy back when you were in this life, okay? Just your energy, your vibration, your personality, who you were was a much different person. You really cared for everybody, whether they had money, they were a peasant, no matter who and what they were, you in your heart truly had compassion and caring for them. And I think you did lose yourself in giving like community service of your time, of your resources to help everybody within your kingdom, so to speak, okay? You lost yourself in the love of the people because you could not really be with the one that you romantically loved, if that makes sense. And the reason for that, the reason you were born into this and had that structure of life is because you had a spiritual mission even then. And this spiritual mission comes forth with you into this lifetime, but it plays out in a very different way because we're in a much different era. So you are on this spiritual mission, and also, you know, the flames coming out as a 4, you're newer in this. You have a lot to go working with this indigo and this starseed energy, okay? You have many more lifetimes to come working with it, wearing many different costumes, and all of it, every single life encompasses this spiritual mission of the indigo, of the star seed. That's your DNA, that's your soul, that's your lineage of your, you know, soul group is this indigo star seed, indigo or star seed, okay? And that mission, every time you are here, follows you no matter which setup you are in. And you're always going to lose yourself in the people, loving them, helping them, nurturing, being there, offering your service and your money to the world, okay? Because that's who and what you are. I actually work with a Cancer, and we all call her the office mom, because she truly is a mom. She is the 100% embodiment of this energy right here. She's always feeding everybody. She's always worried about everybody. She's always giving $5 here and there to people who are short on cash. You know, that was your energy. Very loving, very nurturing, very healing. And because we have this indigo and starseed, it comes through into this life very strongly. It's still very much a part of you. You're just not born into a royal family this lifetime, okay? So Cancer, you guys were royalty. And not only that, in the physical realm were you royalty, but with these two cards, you are royalty in the spiritual realm as well. So I hope that you have enjoyed this reading, Cancer. Take care.